Hi and welcome to episode 53 of China Tools. My name is Dennis and I am from Mohoo. And this will be a special episode for me because I can show you a second product that carries my logo. And we took a different approach with this product and I'm convinced for the better. And those who have watched episode 51 have been introduced to the first tool that features my logo. And I think it's one of the best looking tea rulers on the market. And many people have bought it and they are all impressed with the tool's quality. And the reason why it carries my logo is that I was not impressed by the first version, and to make a long story short, they made a new version that covers all the points of critique I had, and as a thank you they included my logo. But you can imagine it would be much more efficient to do it right the first time. So after that video, Enjoy Wood asked me if we could collaborate on developing a coping sled they were working on. And well, that seems like an exciting idea because although I like to review a product, I would like it even more if I could influence the design and perhaps improve the product. I find it challenging and it's better to help to create the best product version than to review it and tell you it's a shame that they did not cover a certain point. So this is our idea of a coping sled. And well, you see it looks completely different and I think we succeeded in making it more versatile, flexible and affordable at the same time. How cool is that? And a coping sled is an essential tool when you regularly use your router table. It's not only useful when you want to make a frame and panel door, but it is the safest tool for using a router on the ends of long narrow workpieces, especially when using larger bits that require more space at the fence for the router bit. But as I said in the intro, it is the most versatile sled for your router, so let's see what makes it unique. And first we took care to ship this coping sled in the most protected way possible. And everything is nicely secured and packed in foam. And the base of this coping sled is an aluminum plate. It's very sturdy, but not too high. And there are many holes, and of course they are there for a reason. One of the critical aspects of a coping sled is the clamping system. And the most advanced systems use a bridge to create a system to clamp your workpiece in place. And other than that, these bridges do not have a function. And the more affordable coping sleds have toggle clamps, but they have a minimal reach and it could be more straightforward to adjust. And maybe you remember that I showed you these hold down clamps in my last episode. And I rated the MFT style version 5 stars, and it is my new reference hold down clamp. And we use these to hold a workpiece in place, creating the most flexible clamping system for a coping sled. And because we can place them in many different areas and turn them 360 degrees, you can clamp everything that fits in this coping sled. And with a clamping force of well over 40 kg, you do not have to be worried about your workpiece spinning away. And because it's so flexible, you can even place workpieces at angles other than 90 degrees, which creates extra possibilities. But I will come to that point later. And when you want to router the long end of a workpiece, it is impossible to guide it with your hands safely. But with a coping sled, you can lead the coping sled guide along the side of your fence. And one way of using this coping sled is with a router fence as a reference. And when you use it this way, the base must be perfectly perpendicular to the fence. And the direction of the fence is not so important because your router bit is round, but when your coping sled is not perpendicular to the fence, your cut will not be straight. And we took extra care to secure that this window is in a fixed place, so you do not have to worry about alignment. But this has some consequences that I must explain, although they only apply when your workpiece is out of line. Here I deliberately cut this piece of wood 1 degree off. And if you use a coping sled with an adjustable window, you must align it with the workpiece itself. And you will compensate for its misaligned cut with your guide window. And the good news is that you get a perfect cut because your workpiece is perfectly in line with the fence. But when it should be straight, it will hit you back at some point in your project. And with a fixed guide, you will see this gap. And the good news is that you will notice something is wrong or your workpiece is out of line. But when this is within your tolerances, you cannot make this cut because your workpiece should align with your fence. So to bring this in line, the gap will exist at your coping sled. For these situations, we make it possible to make some adjustments so your workpiece is secure against your coping sled base. question I get a lot is, do you have some merchandising? And my answer is always no. That is, until today. And I tried over 10 coffee mugs before I could decide which one was worthy enough to carry my logo. And it's a very nice coffee mug with which you can show that you not only like my channel, but you're also simply hooked on wood. And to be honest, it's not the best coffee mug for keeping coffee hot for a long period of time. It did not even perform the best in my leaking test, so do not buy it for that. But there was one area in which it scored above all others, and that was the taste of the coffee. And when you want to use this coffee mug for 2 or 3 cups of coffee during a stay in your workshop for the next 3 hours and support my channel at the same time, this is a lovely product you will enjoy. And the same counts for these lovely huge water bottles for the necessary hydration. They are very popular at the moment, and with my logo on it, I think they're really hard to resist. And I choose to offer them through Banggood, because it would be a shame to ship them first to my house and then to yours. And one way or the other, I could not offer them for the same money as I can do now. So it's just for fun, and when you like it, enjoy it, and thank you for supporting my channel. And the biggest advantage of using your fans as a reference is that when you need multiple passes, you adjust your fans and can hold your workpiece in your coping sled. But when it's not possible or preferable to use the fans as a reference, you can also use your miter track as a reference. And you can place the miter bar in 3 places to ensure it will fit most router tables. And you can adjust the miter bar from above the coping sled to fit the miter track without play. And the disadvantage when you cannot use the fans to set the depth of your cut is that there is no reference. So we created the possibility of adding some timber to increase the width of the coping sled. And now I can run it against my router bit and I have a perfect reference. So when you want to make a tenon, you can align it perfectly with the end of your coping sled. And it comes delivered with 2 of these extending pieces. But the idea is that you create a bundle of these extending pieces yourself. And the size is easy to measure, but because it's more difficult to estimate the exact center of the holes, we printed the numbers on the device itself. So now you can easily make a bundle of these pieces and make sure they fit perfectly. And you do not have to use a new piece for every project. You can use the same piece as long as your coping sled is in the same miter track position and you use the same drill bit. And this point is what I'm really excited about. Because of a flexible clamping system, we can also place workpieces at different angles, which creates new possibilities. And I recently finished my back wall cabinet in my shop, and the doors were joined with a half-lap miter joint. And I would usually have done this with dominoes, but this is a perfect strong miter joint without the use of dowels or dominoes. And with our new coping sled, it was very straightforward to do. This coping sled was stable enough that even handling these 120 cm longer workpieces was not a problem. And the clamping system is so convenient that making multiple passes is not an issue. And as a result, we make perfectly accurate miters. But of course, a wide variety of joints are possible. Ultimately, I think this is the most convenient and versatile coping sled you can get, and it adds features that were not possible before. And the clamping system is the most flexible system available, and it can secure almost every shape and form of a workpiece. And there's a sales event currently, and the price is around €116. And it is certainly not affordable, but it has a very good quality and unique features. And it is still half the price of a traditional coping sled with the same quality level. So when you are in the market or want to explore new joints with your router table, I think this is a coping sled to consider. And this is my scoring card. Okay, to be honest, it felt a bit strange to review and rate a product, because if I thought it would miss something, we would have changed it in the first place. So when I place a logo on a product, it should at least be good enough to get a 5-star rating. And this week there is another sales event, and there are many, but this one is particularly interesting for the woodworking section. So I looked at different prices and want to highlight one product. Do you remember this Hongdui mighty gauge fence combinations? I gave it a higher score, and I still consider it as one of the best mighty gauge fence combinations in the market. This combination is of the highest quality. And watch my video when you are interested, because here I tell you why. Anyway, they currently offer it for just a little bit over 200 euros, and I think that is an insane price. And when I reviewed this Hongdui mighty gauge fence combination, many viewers asked if it was also available for a bosch table saw. And because this is an expensive tool, it is interesting to buy it at a moment of a sales event, such as now. So I just want to inform you that they now also offer one for a bosch table saw. And I never have seen the combination for this price before. So check other items as well, because I think it can be really worth it. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it. Let me know in the comments. Take care, and we see each other next time.